They say mirrors don't just reflect what's in front of them. Sometimes they show you things that should never exist. On Halloween night, when the veil between the living and the dead is thinnest, mirrors are said to become doorways. What if the reflection you see isn't your own? Tonight, you'll hear 3 terrifying haunted mirror stories that will make you afraid to look into your reflection again.
Claire's grandmother's house had been abandoned for years, but on Halloween night, she convinced her 2 friends, Liam and Sarah, to explore it. The house sagged with age, its windows boarded, ivy crawling across the brick. Inside, the air smelled of mold and rot. Floorboards groaned as they crept room to room, flashlights cutting through the gloom. "Creepiest dare ever," Liam muttered, brushing cobwebs from his hair. They found the basement door behind the kitchen. The hinges shrieked as they pulled it open. The stairs descended into shadows, the smell of damp earth thick below. With nervous laughter, they crept down. Against the far wall, half hidden under a moth-eaten sheet, stood a tall cracked mirror. The glass was stained, its frame splintered with age. Claire pulled the sheet free. At once, something felt wrong. The mirror didn't reflect properly. Instead of their flashlight beams, the basement in the glass was darker, walls covered in crawling shadows like writhing insects. "Do you see that?" Sarah whispered. Then a figure appeared in the reflection, a tall, faceless shape, its head bent sideways, body thin and wrong. It stood directly behind them. They spun around. Nothing. But in the mirror, the thing crept closer. The reflections began to change. Claire's mirrored face twisted, eyes turning black, jaw dropping unnaturally low. She clutched a rusty knife in the reflection's hand, though Claire held nothing. Liam's reflection grinned with too many teeth. Sarah's mirrored face melted, eyes dripping like candle wax. "Stop it," Claire gasped, voice cracking. "That's not us." The basement door slammed shut upstairs. They bolted for the stairs, but the mirror rippled like water. A faceless arm shot out, snatching Sarah's ankle. She screamed, clawing at the floor, but the glass swallowed her whole. Her reflection remained inside, pounding in terror. Liam yanked Claire's arm. "We have to go." But the shadows in the reflection wrapped around his neck like ropes. His scream was cut short as he was dragged backward into the glass. His body vanished, his muffled cries echoing faintly before silence. Claire stood trembling, alone. In the mirror, Sarah and Liam beat their fists against the glass, screaming soundlessly. Behind them, the faceless figure loomed, tilting its crooked head. Claire bolted to the door, throwing her weight against it. It wouldn't budge. Her reflection raised the knife, grinning with her own twisted face. Claire turned just as her reflection lunged from the glass. Days later, when neighbors reported strange noises, police searched the basement. They found nothing but dust and the cracked mirror standing in the corner. Yet those who dare peek into its surface claim they see 3 faces inside: Claire, Liam, and Sarah, slamming endlessly against the glass, begging to be freed. Mr. Holloway's antique shop was a strange place. Dusty shelves sagged under clocks that never ticked, dolls with cracked porcelain smiles, and paintings whose eyes seemed to follow you. But the centerpiece stood in the back. A tall Victorian standing mirror, its frame carved with distorted faces frozen mid-scream. Holloway told customers it was cursed, but he said it with a half-smile, as though daring them to laugh. On Halloween night, the shop smelled of wax and mildew as Holloway closed up. A group of teens had wandered in earlier, daring each other to touch the mirror, but only one lingered afterward, Evan, curious, reckless, and eager to prove it was all just a story. "Mind the mirror," Holloway said softly, locking the front door. "It doesn't like to be stared at too long." Then he disappeared into the back room, leaving Evan alone. The mirror loomed before him, taller than a man, the glass faintly clouded. Evan stepped closer, smirking at his reflection. "So this thing collects souls, huh?" he muttered, tapping the frame. The glass shimmered faintly. His reflection blinked, but a heartbeat too late. Evan froze. He raised a hand, the reflection copied, but slower, its grin stretching wider than his. The boy's smirk faltered. Then more faces appeared, dim shapes pushing against the glass from behind. Pale eyes, hollow cheeks, mouths stretched in endless screams. Evan stumbled back, breath catching in his throat. The reflection leaned forward, pressing its palm to the glass. The surface rippled like water. A cold hand burst through, seizing Evan's shirt, yanking him forward. Evan screamed, digging his heels into the wooden floor, but the mirror dragged harder. From the glass stepped his double, skin dripping black tar, smile jagged and wrong. It shoved him backward toward the shimmering surface. "Stop! Somebody help!" Evan shrieked, clawing at the floorboards. His nails snapped as he tried to hold on, but one leg slipped through the mirror, then his torso. The glass swallowed him whole, his screams fading into silence. When the surface smoothed, only the doppelganger remained outside. It tilted its head, grinned at Holloway, who had reappeared silently, and stepped back into the mirror. The glass stilled. Holloway approached, eyes gleaming. Inside the reflection, Evan's face had joined the others, pounding, screaming, eyes wild with terror. The old man smiled faintly, whispering, "Another soul for the collection." Then he pulled a dusty cloth over the mirror, sealing the screams inside. Nina wasn't a fan of parties, but she went along with her friends to a Halloween gathering in an old Victorian house. After an hour of noise and dancing, she excused herself upstairs to find the bathroom. The hallway was dim, wallpaper peeling, and the floor creaked under her steps. Inside the bathroom, a flickering bulb lit the cracked tiles and a clawfoot tub. Above the sink hung a strange oval mirror framed in bronze, edges bruised black with age. Nina adjusted her witch hat, but stopped cold. Her reflection moved a fraction too late. She tilted her head again. The reflection lagged. Then it smiled, though she hadn't. Her chest tightened. She grabbed the doorknob. It wouldn't turn. The reflection pressed its palms to the glass. Nails screeched as cracks spidered across the surface, and inside the reflection, blood leaked from its fingers. Nina's breath hitched. "Stop," she whispered. Suddenly, the reflection slammed its head against the mirror, over and over, blood smearing across its forehead. Nina screamed, banging on the door. No one heard. Then the reflection vanished. The glass turned black. From the center, a pale, blistered hand pushed out, dripping thick black liquid. It seized Nina's wrist, ice cold, pulling her toward the mirror. From the void, her twisted double emerged, black eyes, torn lips curved in a jagged smile. The surface rippled like water. Nina clawed at the door frame, and for a moment, the knob twisted open. But before she could escape, the reflection yanked her through. The mirror stilled. Empty. Minutes later, a girl from the party walked in. "Nina," she called, but the room was empty. She looked in the mirror, and froze. Behind her reflection, Nina pounded silently against the glass, screaming for help that would never come.